Hey everyone, this is Jim Rowan, and welcome to our AI Frontline video series. We're talking to Brian Bott here from the Cancer AI Alliance, and we wanted to talk to Brian a little bit about what's going on in the world of AI. So Brian, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on our little show here. Got a couple questions for you. I'd love for you to just first explain a little bit what the Cancer AI Alliance is and how does that work?
Sure. So the Cancer AI Alliance is an alliance of 4 founding comprehensive cancer centers who are all motivated to make advances in cancer treatment, cancer cures, cancer research. But importantly, also an alliance of technology and industry partners. And so essentially, the concept came up a little over a year ago to pool resources from these industry partners who have made philanthropic donations to the initiative to help facilitate federated learning across these founding cancer centers.
That's awesome. So one of the things we talk about with AI is sort of AI for efficiency, experience, and growth. And this seems like a really fascinating growth innovation space. Could you talk to me how you guys are thinking about AI and data in this alliance and how it's working together from an innovation perspective?
As anybody who's working in the AI space knows, data is sort of the fuel that helps the AI be both developed and become more useful. And part of what we see in cancer research and in cancer care is that for certain types of data, the data often ends up siloed for sometimes very good reasons and sometimes less good reasons, due to patient privacy, due to federal regulations around the way that those data can be shared and or not. And so there are certain aspects of cancer research and cancer care that are sort of hamstrung by a lack of data. If we take a look at the internet writ large, LLMs being built off of that resource, but if we even look a little bit more focused with something like the protein databases that have been made publicly available and some of the insights and last year 2 Nobel Prizes that came out of just access to high quality data. We're looking to do something similar for data specific to patients who have been seen at these cancer centers, and not just the data itself, but really building a platform that will allow models to be built while still preserving privacy across the alliance.
And so you're unpacking some things that we see in the enterprises challenges all the time, right? So now you're stitching together an ecosystem of technology partners and other organizations that are sharing data. How did you orchestrate this amazing sort of level of connection? Because that seems really hard to do.
But with that said, we do have an advantage, which, and one of the things that one of our founders has said is that cancer is nonpartisan. And when we say nonpartisan, we don't mean politically, but really everybody is in this to advance cancer research and cancer care. The federated nature that we're trying to enable allows a few things. One, it allows the data to continue to stay sovereign to each individual cancer center. So the data itself does not leave the firewalls of the cancer centers. So the models travel to the cancer centers, only gradients make its way back. Another key component is that because of the federated nature of it, each individual cancer center doesn't have to move onto a new infrastructure to enable this. So, we have partners across hyperscalers, and each individual cancer center can work with whatever hyperscaler they want at their own institution. All they have to do is be able to communicate with this federated ecosystem and federated orchestration layer. And so it also doesn't require sort of, a monolithic all infrastructure needs to move to this cloud or to that cloud or to on-prem.
It's very helpful to see how you're stitching that together, both, it sounds like from a relationship perspective, but also from working through the technical sovereignty of data, which is such a huge issue for folks. So as you think about the solution and what you're working on, how does AI then help to add value to what the data is being created? What's the AI secret sauce in some of this?
Part of what we're trying to enable is researchers at each one of these cancer centers to have access to the data and the tooling and the compute to be able to see what those insights are. We don't predetermine what we think those insights are necessarily going to be, just like in the same way that when the protein databases were put together, there was not a knowledge that in the future there would be foundational models that would be built and you could develop new protein structures that you didn't even know existed before. So part of what we're trying to do is just put the right tooling in researchers' hands, access to data that will allow them to do the innovative work that they're so good at doing.
I love it. Such a great example of AI for a common good. I'd love to take your perspective on the future. We've seen the advancements in these models in the frontier labs just get so much better, like week after week, month after month.
Yeah.
We can't even measure this in years. So how are you thinking about kind of where the future of some of this is going?
Well, I think in our specific case, what we're trying to do is democratize access to some of these resources.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've seen, each one of the 4 foundational cancer center partners they're all doing really good research already within their own institutions. But what we're finding is the AI models that they're developing at their institution don't necessarily generalize very well, which necessitates more diverse access to data, et cetera, which is part of why this alliance is going to become so important.
That's super helpful. Now, as you think about sort of this all coming together in the organization, I also have this question for you about how is AI maybe changing how you're working and the team's working in some of the spaces? Is it speeding the development of the things you're creating?
Each individual organization that's a part of the alliance has their own mechanisms by which they are leveraging AI to help facilitate that.
Yeah.
I will say one of the things we're looking at going forward is, what are some of the AI tools that will enable, for instance, unstructured data to become more structured data to be made available in our federated framework, et cetera, et cetera. But we are starting to look at sort of cross-alliance, how we might deploy some of those as well.
Sounds like common mission is important. Are there other elements or secret ingredients do you feel like is really helpful to kind of work across companies?
I think the recognition that no individual institution has sufficient data to be able to make the sort of advances that we all want to see in cancer research and cancer care. And so once that is recognized, it becomes something that needs to be prioritized, certainly at each organizational level. And I'll say, for the founding members, we have buy-in all the way up to the C-suite to enable this to work. And there's a lot of investment that needs to go in for a lot of the, non-sexy work that is, the data mapping, the data plumbing.
The picks and the shovels and making this all happen,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. And so that was a core bit of actually the founding of the Alliance was that we needed to ensure that the individual centers who are coming on board were going to be resourced to do that grunt work, if you will, because we knew it was going to be important for the long-term success of the Alliance.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate your time today talking about what's going on from an AI perspective. Thanks for joining us. Great conversation. And thanks everyone for listening. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.